Hey everybody, Alex Miller at Cadmion here. I wanted to talk about some general macroeconomic news and market watching around inflation numbers that are due to come out, the Federal Reserve, how people might react to both of these, and why, and what does it mean for markets. I think it's unusually clear cut right now. The market can go up, down, sideways, and nobody knows why. A lot of the action in the second part of this week on this front is going to be determined by a relatively small number of actors, and I think you can state unusually clearly what the forces are. I do not know what's going to happen. If you are looking for investment advice, you should probably not get it from me. I actually run a data privacy company, but I can give you the entry level version of the story, and I think it's interesting and you might enjoy it. Okay, so what is going on right now? So on Wednesday, the government is going to release numbers for the Consumer Price Index, often abbreviated CPI, that's going to say how severe was inflation over the past year. The Federal Reserve Bank has a dual mandate. The mandate is to keep employment high, and that's sort of equivalent to avoiding a recession, and then to ensure price stability, which is to say it's supposed to keep inflation down. So these consumer price index numbers are important because they are, on some level or another, going to drive how the Fed behaves. Now, you could go into great detail, and I have in some other videos, about what are the magic levers the Fed is pulling. Just to be super brief, the Fed can kind of make things loose and drown everybody in money, or they can make things tight and try to slow everybody down, make it hard to get a loan. It's going to lead people to do less investing, buy less houses, etc. So the Fed has been tightening lately. There are concerns that, if the Fed tightens too much, we could have a recession. But then, of course, the Fed might keep tightening anyway if inflation is really high. So that all sounds pretty scientific. Where does the nobody knows everything could go up, down, sideways part come in? People at the Fed in their public appearances have been saying pretty hardcore, we're worried about inflation right now. We're going to go hard on inflation. We're not worried about a recession, blah, blah, blah. This suggests that maybe they're going to raise rates a lot. And if they do that, probably the stock market goes down. There's another level on which people don't quite believe the Fed. People think, maybe if things slow down a lot, they might chicken out and not raise rates so high, not get so tight because they're worried about a recession. There's like a long history of discourse on this kind of thing under the term jawboning, the idea that maybe you just talk shit to get people to do the kind of economic behaviors you want, and then hopefully you don't actually have to raise rates. So the unpredictable part here comes from that there's a little bit of a showdown between markets and the Fed here. The Fed is saying it's going to raise rates. It would love it if everybody believed that it was going to raise rates, because that does some of the work of it having to raise rates, and then maybe it doesn't have to. There have already been some signs, so mortgage rates dipped a little bit in the past couple of weeks. This is sort of an indication a lot of people really don't believe the Fed. You could turn on Bloomberg TV right now and probably you wouldn't have to wait too long before somebody says they don't really believe the Fed is going to keep tightening forever. And this is kind of a poker game to some degree. And, like a hand of poker, nobody really knows what's going to happen until it's over. So on Wednesday, these CPI numbers come out, and you can look at the stock market is going to do something. And these are the kind of dynamics of why the stock market is going to go up or down, and why it is uncertain which it is, even though we can state so many sort of positivist things about how things work, outside of not knowing what Jerome Powell really thinks about all day in his own head.